Welcome back to 12 Talk in what has been a busy week with trades. Sadly, none of them involving us. However, we are going to discuss all that. We have got a jam-packed show for you today, including the very new news, not to steal a line from another podcast, of Derek Hall's extension. We'll talk about that, what it means to the team. We're going to talk about the Myles Garrett trade as well. Also, we'll have a look at how we think this might affect the Seahawks, the NFC West, and the NFL as a whole. And then we're going to have a look at the main question on this pod, which is, are the Rams a problem? And if they are, we're going to look at why. But first, Mitch, how's it going?
It's going. No, it's good. I'm enjoying the period of wonder about like what move are we going to make. I hoped it would be the same one that the Rams made, but there are still some players out there that we could make, improve our roster with. And I have to say, part of me is relieved. I think the glittery, shiny move was the Garrett trade. But actually, I think there's a whole combination of things we can do with our draft capital and our salary cap instead of that one move. And I don't think we needed to play catch up with anyone's roster, really. So, yeah, I'm excited. How am I? I am excited.
I am excited. Good. I mean, I'm looking forward to chopping this up with you, and thanks to people that are joining. If you're filtering in, Mitch is going to be manning the comments. If you want to have your comments read out in front of everyone else, super chats are open. And I just want to give a very quick shout out to the show sponsor for this week, Flying V. They're back. You go to their website. The link is down below in the podcast description. Use code 12Talk at 20% off anything. And if you are joining us for the first time, feel free to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'd really appreciate it. But Mitch, there's too much for us to just gloss over now. I think we just need to get into this and start talking about the pressing matters. Let's do this.
Sure.
Back at again. I'm liking the fact that we're getting some regular things to talk about now, Mitch.
Yeah.
The off season can be such a doldrum for everyone. I mean, we're lucky, we've still got a lot of people that are active in our Discord, which people can join as well. The link for that is in our link tree down below, and we're still talking Hawks with some fantastic members there who are giving us all the information and having some very interesting chats about what's happening. Should we talk about the first bit of major news from the Seahawks before we've got to talk about our division rivals, the Rams? Because this man is someone that you and I have been high on since we drafted him. This is someone that I had pegged as a future captain. I think it was just you that sent me the initial clips of Derek Hall to look at and said, this guy is going to be a Seahawk. And lo and behold, he is for another 3 years. He's just signed a 3-year extension worth $42 million, potentially $46.5 million with incentives, $21 million guaranteed. Now,
it's good money.
It's great money. I actually saved something earlier just as a comparison. So bear with. So this was all to do with him compared to what we could have paid Boye Mafe. And this is thanks to Hawkmania. So Bengals have paid Boye Mafe 3 years, $60 million, which is $20 million a year, and $19 million fully guaranteed this offseason. Okay. With Derek Hall's extension, let's have a look. You understand that Hall is at the end of his 4-year rookie deal at $1.993 million. And the Seahawks save around $18 million overall and avoid a bloated cap hit by paying the younger, cheaper Hall, who's 3 years younger. That is bang on.
It's good business.
It is, and it's a great part of this D line as well. He's a young leader.
Yeah, and I tell you what's funny. I think we all knew Boye Mafe wasn't coming back, right? Because he hadn't been favoured by this regime. In the end, he wasn't a great fit for what we were doing, and what we were doing was working so well. So why would you put a guy in that didn't fit the scheme when you had a healthy rotation of D linemen and edge rushers that were getting it done? So he was surplus to requirements, wasn't surplus to requirements for teams where he was a better fit. And I don't think there's an overpay there from Kansas. I think if they genuinely think they can use him, he's talented, he's hard wearing, he's not often injured or anything like that. They'll get a lot out of Boye Mafe if he fits what they do. Doesn't fit what we did. Weirdly, and don't forget that Hall was drafted by the Pete Carroll coaching staff, right? And he was picked for that team. I actually think if Pete Carroll was still in charge, glad he's not, no disrespect, but if we were still in that Pete Carroll era, I actually think what Mafe became and what Hall became, probably Mafe was the one you keep, actually, because he was a better fit for what that defense was. So I think actually, whilst Hall wasn't drafted by Mike McDonald, he was just the right player at the right time for this team. So that's quite fortuitous for the team and for Derek Hall. I think Derek Hall's actually really happy here. I think he's a leader in that locker room. And he showed up on the big stage, didn't he? And I know everyone and their mum sacked Drake May on the night, but he is more than good enough in this league, and $14 million for what we get from Derek Hall, it's not a lot, really.
No, I think he's still got room to grow. I mean, for Boye, if he goes to Cincinnati and balls out, brilliant.
I said Kansas, didn't I? Sorry, I got Ken Walker on the brain.
I was going to say
the Bengals. Yeah.
Sorry, I seem to be sinking in my chair live on air. Gradually growing shorter. That's old age, that is. But I mean, Boye Mafe's year 2, he had the breakout year, and we all thought that was going to be it. But then with the defensive scheme change, it just showed that he wasn't fit for what we were looking to do. I think Derek Hall is perfect for that. He's young, he's explosive, he's got a fantastic ball rush, he's a leader, and I'm perfectly fine with exactly what we've done there. We've kept the young core of our D-line and edge rusher, and I'm hoping that this year we'll see a massive uptick in his performance as well.
Yeah, and I think the other players in this team that you're going to get more of a tune out of, I think, will help him. I expect Murphy to kick on again. I expect Ronnie Mills to come in and get some meaningful snaps, and I think Derek Hall is a senior player now in this team with all that talent and the veterans on this line who are essentially the stars in the Jaron Reeds and Leonard Williams and Tank Lawrence. I mean, he's sort of in between the age groups. But he's absolutely a leader, and he'll feast off the opportunities that come from the kick on that you get from a lot of the players on this roster, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's the Seahawks' big news. We've now got to turn this podcast into one talking about one of our division rivals, which I'm loath to do, but I think we kind of need to, because the move that's been on everyone's lips, and it's taken me a day to digest this, it's going to impact everyone. And that's the LA Rams trading with the Browns for Myles Garrett. And correct me if I'm wrong, and anyone in the comments can by all means say what they want about this. I think, and I've seen a lot of the draft grades, people are saying the Browns won this trade. And let's just recap it. It's Jared Verse, a young second-year edge rusher who's a Pro Bowler. It's a 2027 first-round pick, a 2028 second-round pick, and a 2029 third-round pick. I don't think the Browns won this trade.
I do.
Are you going to say because they traded for a younger edge? Because I'm going to put it out there. There's not many players that have gone to the Browns and succeeded.
Look, I look at it through a different lens. I'm trying to look at this from what both teams are trying to do here. So the Browns have got a new stadium in the next 3 years. They want to have a team that people want to turn up and watch when they move to that new stadium. Now, they also need a quarterback. There are quarterbacks in 2027 that feasibly could be your franchise quarterback. They need to be able to move around the board, not only in that draft, but in the first round. They need to get up and get a talented quarterback. They need some weapons. They need to be exciting again. Their fans have had to settle for the only exciting thing being Garrett for the longest time, and it has not got them anything. They've had one playoff appearance in the last 10 years, and I think that was when Baker was there.
Yeah,
I think. So yeah, what did the Browns want? They wanted loads of draft capital. They wanted some cap space, and if they could, they wanted to recoup a player that was young and ascending to add into that what they're trying to build to. So, did the Browns get what they wanted? Yes, they did, and they timed it in a way that got them an extra $8 million in cap relief. So, in that respect alone, the Browns won this trade from their perspective. Now, when you look at what the Rams got a player who's been used to having to do it all on his own on defense for the sake of their offense. He was trying to keep them their offense in games, and their offense just didn't have it to sort of live up to that. So the Rams have got a player who can just do his thing with an offense that works in a big way, as we found out twice. So the Rams will feel like they've won this trade. The Browns will definitely feel like they've won this trade. But when you look at the balance of picks to player and age, I still think the Browns come out on top. Where people will argue till the cows come home is Myles Garrett is a Hall of Fame edge rusher and is currently the best to do it in the NFL. He's hungry for a ring. He's gone to a team that are hungry for a ring in a win now window. So yeah, I don't think it's a one-sided thing. I just think the Browns have probably shaded it on the scales.
I think it's, if you're going to put that light on it, I can understand from a longevity point of view, fine. I have a long-suffering father who's a Browns fan. I was lucky enough, I'll say lucky enough, because they were nice people, to party with the Browns in London and the Browns fans. And they're a weirdly optimistic bunch. And I had to really bite my tongue. I know, it's weird. But like, from a team roster building point of view, fine, I can completely understand the move. But when you look at the success it could bring one team, I think the Rams win this trade. Because this, and let's not beat around the bush, and we'll get to this, will the Rams be a problem? This now probably sets them above us in everyone's estimations. And I'm not saying that they're going to beat us. I'm not saying that they are a better team overall. But when you look at the star power, they have got the MVP and the league leader in throwing yards last year, league leader in receiving yards from not last year, obviously year before. You've got the league leader in receptions. You've now got the league leader in sacks. He is the single season sack, record holder. People are going to look at that and go, that is a stacked team. And then on top of that, the knock-on effect is that everyone's talking about Aaron Donald coming back as well at the age of 33, just because he now sees them as being true challengers. Which AD, like, regardless of how long he's been out of the league, he could still come in and do a fantastic job on a line next to Garrett. And that's the one thing that vexes me more than anything else. I think the Rams have won this outright. I think this is now going to be as much as I have faith in our coaching staff, our roster, our team, John Schneider, I think this now sets them into that echelon of, superstar teams. And weirdly enough, I know Josh DeHuman is actually in our comments here. I said to him, how many times have we seen superstar teams fall flat on the face in every single sport? This could be that. Stafford's back or neck could give in. Garrett could get injured, in which case it's all for naught. But another thing you have to look at with the Browns, all these draft picks, if the Rams are successful for the next 3 years, they're all low round picks. They were massively undersold. Let's say the Rams get to the NFC playoffs or the NFC Championship game, that puts them at what, 27, 28, wherever in the draft order. So that means that the Rams, the Browns have now got another first rounder, yay, but it's right at the back. And as we've seen this year, there wasn't a lot of value there, depending on next year's supposed to be better. But I don't see them as winners in this. I see Myles Garrett massively in a winner because he's not got to now be the one player on his team that does anything.
Okay, question for you then. If you were Myles Garrett, just from the roster and the way the rosters are built, do you think Myles Garrett wins more here joining the Seahawks and joining that dark side defense where he's in a mixture of D linemen that need double teaming and, supported by blitzing DBs and linebackers, that defense that brings that package of pressure? Do you think he's better in there with the corners and the DBs we've got behind that? Or do you think he's better? Do you think he feels he wins more in a defense with slightly less star power, but with the league MVP quarterback on the other side of the ball and Puka Nacua and I forget the name of the running back now, and he's in my fantasy team as well, Kyron
Williams.
Thank you.
And Blake Corum.
Yeah, which one do you choose? The team with the more stacked defense or the one with more roster balance?
Well, your team, you pick the team that was actually in on the trade, because by all accounts, the Seahawks weren't in on the trade at all. Hey, let's face it, if you had the choice, you'd probably go to the Super Bowl champions looking at the team that we've got. Like, if he was in this team, then there would be no question about us repeating. No one would question it at all. But he's gone to a team where I personally would have feared their D-line more if they kept Jared Verse. They've still got Kobe Turner, who's, a great player. Putting Garrett on the edge is always going to be an issue, regardless of what edge he sets on. But it's still a formidable thing to have to worry about. And let's not forget, and we'll get onto this after as well, when we talk about sort of their draft capital and what they've done with it over the last few years. They've just traded for Trent McDuffie as well to sort of help solidify the back end. It's a difficult one because I like I said, I've got utmost faith in what Mike McDonald's building. I think I put this on TikTok earlier, that this screams to me as oh my God, we best pump the brakes on the Seahawks before Mike McDonald can really build a dynasty.
Well, I think the whole dynasty thing is the reason why I do like that we didn't do the Myles Garrett trade, because we are reigning Super Bowl champions, and the roster, as much as people like to say that the Seahawks roster is completely deconstructed because they've lost 4 starting players, they weren't 4 starting players. It was 1 starting player who was on a snap share with another running back. So, let's not buy into that. But we didn't have an awful lot to do to get ourselves back to where we were last year, and we still have the cap space and the 5th highest amount of draft power next year. So we can still do a lot of transactions here, and we've got a lot of space to improve. So I think the Rams see what we are now and the fact that we could be better than last year, and they have to bridge that gap. So that is a move that is a good move, in my opinion, but I do think it's a required level up for them to shade us, to be honest. So yeah, that's where I am with it. I think I mentioned the draft power ranking, so I'm just going to quote this from Tankathon. So the Jets, the Browns, the Dolphins, and the Cardinals have more power in the power rankings next year in the draft. We are fifth with 5 picks in the top 100. We have the 135th, and we're going to have a bunch of compensatory picks. I think 1 in the 3rd or 2 in the 3rd, and then the rest in the 4th and 5th. So that's before the compensatory picks. Yeah, I just feel like we've got some flexibility to really improve this roster from where we are, add in some quality depth, get the occasional starter in there or players that can compete for starting roles. That's almost a better way of ensuring your improvement, because when all your eggs go into one basket, you know, that player gets injured and all of that cap space, all of those draft picks. I mean, we saw it last year with Micah Parsons, didn't we?
Yeah.
Went to the Packers and then serious injury. Where's that cap space going now? Where's that draft capital? You know, what was it for? And I don't doubt that he'll be back and he'll be brilliant. Don't get me wrong, but it shows the fragility of that move when one player going down. And I guess that's why the Winers didn't do it, because, you know, substation.
they've got enough players on their physio bench, mate.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe Bosa wants a running partner in that physio room, but he doesn't do an awful lot of running, does he?
No, I mean, I think this screams, and I look at this from like a longevity point of view. You look at what we're building. We've got an experienced core. When you look at Reed, Big Cat, and you look at D-Law, right, on that D line, and you know, who's behind them in, you know, you've got Murphy, you've got Mills, you've now got Hall who's in there as well. And this is a team that's built to last, with young players, with not splashing out huge amounts on, you know, 28, 29-year-old players, which, you know, it may still happen. You know, Max Crosby may still be on the cards. You never know. But the way this team's being built and this franchise is being rebuilt is being a franchise that can compete for a long time. And have you just banned the Rams?
Oh, he said his bit. He's done.
I'd keep him in there. But yeah, I love a Ram. I love a troll. And this is what I said this as well. I can't wait for the Rams fans to just start piping up now, because one trade, 2 trades, essentially, they now think that they're going to win it. And that's not always the way. Great question from John. Is Puka back from rehab yet? Will he ever be? Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I think let's talk about the ripple effect this is going to have on the NFC West. So by the way, the Seahawks, I think we know we're in there to compete. And it's going to be a close NFC West. You know, I think this is going to be a matter of, and let's not forget, we don't see the Rams until, what was it, week 16?
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, realistically, we could play the Rams 3 times in 5 weeks. I want to say 5-6 weeks. Played 3 times in 6 weeks, which I'd enjoy. But the cool thing is, we could feasibly get to week 15, be 13-1, you know, something like that, and we'd already be assured of a playoff berth before even playing them, you know. So that's quite a fortuitous situation, really.
It is. It's massively fortunate. I was just trying to find out exactly when we see them again. But I mean, I think you've got a whole season then of an aging QB to try and stay clean in the pocket, which granted he did do well last season, but another year on those legs, you know, might not be the best for him. Myles Garrett, any of those players could go down. Any of our players could go down. That's one of the big things about this league You have no idea who's going to go down and when. And the sheriff is near. We're not acting like there's a death in our family at all. You need to listen to the whole thing because we're trying to be very measured here. I personally think the ripple effect it's going to have for the NFC West. It's going to be more competitive. It now just means that it's going to be a fight between the two of us. I don't see the 49ers as being competitive this year. I think their third place is pretty much solidified, and then the Cardinals are the Cardinals. Well done on trading, an elite running back at the top of the first round and having no O-line for him to run behind. I think this is going to be, personally, I can't wait to see how we scheme up against him. Because what was Charles Cross's stats last time we played against Garrett?
In 2023? From memory, it was a QB hit, a sack, and 2 pressures, I think. Anyone in the chat that wants to correct me on that, I'm pretty sure it was something like that. But that was in 2023. And Charles Cross has kicked on a lot since that period of time. He's a far more stout and experienced left tackle. The game clearly slowed down for him, and he's a step ahead of a lot of premium edge rushers a lot of the time. So I think that, don't get me wrong, Myles Garrett could find a yard of space in a phone box. Honestly, the guy will beat anyone. Doesn't matter who you are. Like, I'm not saying Charles Cross has got the wood on him or anything. I'm just saying that Charles Cross had a reasonably good game against him last time, and he's a better player now. So it doesn't scare me. I think it makes them better. And I tell you what, Myles Garrett doesn't scare me. What does scare me slightly is the fact that they've got Trent McDuffie and Myles Garrett, which is that pincer movement, isn't it? Where more pressure up front, more sacks, and a better corner behind it, ready to snap up whatever chaos is caused by the pressure. So the improvement on the line and the improvement on the back end is clearly going to cause more of a headache. It just is. That's undeniable. So that's where I think they've really improved. But yeah, Myles Garrett really twitches the needle for you, no matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're the Cardinals. Actually, that is the hot take, isn't it? That Myles Garrett could be the only person that could improve the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Maybe
they've got Josh Sweat who wants to leave already, don't they? After like 1 year, which I think that says all you need to know about them. I mean, we're talking about a ripple effect on the NFC West. I don't think it's going to be much of one. It's going to be the same 2 teams in us and the Rams going at it. For the NFL in general, I think this has just gone to show a lot of players and a lot of teams that anyone's tradable. Also, that they're tradable for an incredibly reasonable price. Do you not think?
You think?
I think it's very reasonable for Myles Garrett.
He wants to be the number one. He wants to be the number 1 paid rusher in the league, and he's already on 40 mil. So
he wants a ring as well. And this is the thing. He wants a ring. The Rams want another ring. And I think this is one of those where the 2 interests align. And I think the Browns, as much as they tried to keep hold of Garrett, they just came to the realization he doesn't want to be here. We're not going to win anything if we keep him with this huge cap hit. We need to rebuild from the ground up. And then, because they've got how many years left of Deshaun Watson's fully guaranteed contract?
It's this year and next, I think.
Oh, God. Yeah, I bet they can't wait as well. Yeah, it is an absolute mess. And also, a quick shout out, speaking of a mess of QB contracts, Russell Wilson, as Amy has quite stoutly put, hasn't retired, but he's signed with CBS to be an analyst. And, I can see him doing well on TV. That's just a little side.
I can't. I've seen him try to sell subs, and I've never wanted a sub less in my life.
Yeah, true. It's nothing appealing about an unlimited sub, right? So
The
shall we
danger
go?
witch.
The danger witch. Oh God, I try and like block that out of my memory. Cheers, mate.
Yeah.
But I think we should talk about we named this pod "Are the Rams a Problem?" And I think we've sort of gone over a lot of it, but I think we just do a bit of a deeper dive as to, are they a problem for us? Are they a problem for the league? Are they a problem for themselves? And if we look at their roster, and they've got some good players, as we've said, but the average age of these good players is like 30, if not more. I need to do the maths properly. I mean, you look at Devontae Adams, 33. Who else have we got? Let's have a quick look.
Rob Havenstein retired.
He retired, didn't he? Yeah. So Myles Garrett's 30. You've got Tyler Higbee, 33. You know, they've got some players there that are sort of edging towards the 30s, and then you've got your 40-odd-year-old QB. I don't see it as someone who's built teams and squads. I don't see it as a recipe for lasting success. And I think that's their problem. They're about the immediate success. With a market like LA, they want the glitz, the glamour, they want the light to be shone on them. And that can only be done with immediate, big, splashy moves.
Well, you're not wrong. I'm looking at this. 23 players set to become free agents from the Rams roster in 2027. With Myles Garrett being signed and Matthew Stafford being, extended but unlikely to make it through that extension, I would say. But then we saw Brady go on for a long time, but then he didn't have that ongoing neck problem. But within those 23 players, you might hear that and go, oh, it's probably wide receiver threes and running back threes and backup tackles and everything else. Puka Nacua, Kobe Turner, Steve Avia, and Byron Young are all in that list. So it's pretty crazy. You've got Kevin Dotson, Kyron Williams, Warren McClendon Jr. as well. It's a lot. It's a lot, and you've just lost you've lost Rob Havenstein as well. So you're already patching up that, and then you've got 23 players that need, looking after. So yeah, I do think our roster's in a far better managed state in terms of cap hits, early extensions to get ahead of the markets. The level of depth we've got, the fact that we're deep on special teams as well. And I'll say this, right? I know that I'm not going to say the thing that they say because we don't swear on the pod. Try not to, but they always say, "Bleep them picks," right? Yeah. To get rid of the picks, get the players in. To your point, they want the glitz, the glamour, they want the win-ready, star players on that roster. Fine. But what we've always done is draft players late down the order who can contribute on special teams. And I'd go so far as to say that special teams was probably the difference in both, certainly one, but possibly both games against the Rams last year. We had a fantastic roster on all three sides of the ball. They had a great roster on two sides. And when you're in those dead rubbers, those real sort of Clash of the Titans kind of games, special teams can break that wide open.
It's a game of inches, not miles, and the special teams gave those extra inches.
Yeah.
They were the big swing. You can take that as a euphemism if you want when we're talking about inches and swinging or not. When we talk about sort of the way they're building rosters, I just want a quick exercise in looking at their draft picks since 2016, their first round draft picks. All right. Are you ready for this? So I'll go year by year, 2016 to now. 2016, they drafted Jared Goff. Okay. 2017, they didn't have a pick because they traded it with Tennessee to get Jared Goff. 2018, they traded it for Brandon Cooks. 2019, they traded the first round pick away for additional draft picks. 2020 and 2021, they traded their first round pick for Jalen Ramsey. Okay, part of that package. Then you had the Matt Stafford trade, which involved the first round pick in 22 and 23. And then 2025, they traded for a 2026 first round pick and additional picks. Okay. And out of all those, they picked Jared Goff, they picked Jared Verse in 2024, and then this year they picked Ty Simpson, who I've heard it far too much on social media and everyone else saying, well, this Myles Garrett pick now makes complete sense because they've got their QB of the future on the roster. I don't know how many people watched Ty Simpson tape. Yeah, I'm not a draft nerd. I watched some because I was like, does he deserve to be drafted up there? Unless they're going to do a lot of work with him. Yeah, good luck with that. I think this is, in my personal opinion, a catastrophic way to build an NFL roster for the long term with any success.
Yeah, I do agree.
You know, it's if they are going to build this roster for this season and they win a Super Bowl, which I'm confident the same thing will probably happen as last year, then fair play. If they do go on and win it, okay, fine. But then what happens 2 or 3 years down the line? You know?
I mean, it's a needle mover in terms of the quality on your roster. It is. Yeah. It is for anyone. I've already said it would make the Cardinals better. If it makes the Cardinals better, it will make anyone better. But it puts a lot of your capital to build and develop your roster into one basket, and we don't need that. We don't. Genuinely, what the way we've got to where we are is still the recipe for one, cementing, the plan and what we do, and two, improving it further, frankly, because there's still positions on this roster that we could draft for next year that will improve the starting quality of this roster. So why throw away the farm, for one player? I would have been happy if we got him. I will say that. But I think plan B is probably favorable for a lot of people. And the Derek Hall extension today, genuinely, I think is part of a plan B, because getting Myles Garrett means that you've got the talent on that D line, even if you lose Leonard Williams, Tank Lawrence, Jaron Reed next year. Well, okay, Riley Mills, Murphy, Derek Hall, you've got enough there to have the semblance of a D line. So when you don't get Garrett, okay, well, let's make damn sure we've got Hall. Mm-hmm. What else can we do with our cap space, with our draft capital to get that lifeblood through that D line going forward? So I do think Plan B is kicked fully into effect already.
I also think once the Witherspoon contract has been finalised, we'll know how much cap space we're playing with. Obviously, that's going to be for next season anyway. But I do think we're probably going to look at, there's going to be a trade coming. I can just feel it in my bones. I think John Schneider is on the phone to people, wheeling and dealing. And I think top of everyone's shopping list is Max Crosby. I saw someone mention Kyle Van Noy. There's multiple edge rushers out there that I think could be a system fit. And that's probably something that we could explore in a different episode.
Yeah, I think whoever you bring in needs to be with an eye on at least a 3-year deal that they'll play in their prime in. Because getting someone like Kyle Van Noy in now, it would be a rotational snap share. We got that in Dante Fowler. Frankly, like that's what he came in for. We don't need that. if you're going to add an edge rusher to this roster, it's because they improve you in a very noticeable way. A real difference maker, elite talent. Give us 3 years at least of that. That's what this was. It's not we need an edge rusher desperately. It's not. It's can we find a talent that pushes us to another level?
Yeah, agreed. Well, I think we've spoke a lot about what we wanted to speak about. I want to get to some of the comments and questions because there's been some fantastic one that's literally just come up, and this is something I felt quite passionately about when I was looking at a lot of social media. So from John, did you want to give up Byron Murphy to get Garrett? And this was something that people across social media had floated. You know, if they gave up, you know, Jared Verse, we could have given up Byron Murphy. No, thank you. I just wouldn't have done it. I think Byron Murphy has got all Pro Bowl potential. He played there. I think it was a port blogger, Brian Nemhauser, said this, but he played at that level last year. I think he was very unlucky to not be voted in sort of the first round. I think if you're going to give up a player like that who's become a heartbeat of this interior D line and could be with this team for years to come, for someone like Garrett who would have an immediate impact, I think you'd be silly because you're messing with the dynamics of that whole D line then.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Are there any others that you saw? There were absolutely loads of comments. So thanks everyone who commented. Yeah, there's absolutely loads. And sorry, we got too engrossed in conversation to be starring them all and getting back to them.
That's true.
So if you've got any questions, you want to ping them in now, by all means, they'll appear at the bottom. We can get to those really, really easily.
Well, this one needs to be discussed. Are you still on for Sunday, Josh?
Oh yeah, I'm taking Jonas and his mum and dad to Colchester.
Of course you are.
Yeah, well, they're coming over. They want to experience British culture. Where I live, trains are few and far between on a Sunday if they work. Whereas Colchester is a main line from London, and it is Britain's oldest recorded town.
Love that. Love a stat.
Show them some culture. Show them a castle. So the Roman wall and everything. Yeah. And then they get to meet my daughter as well. So very quickly, 3 Germans will go back to Germany and be like, oh my God, British kids are horrible. That's a lie. She's lovely. I love her. Right, there you go. From Jonas again, D Hall will get to buy a couple more of those trucks with a Washington State number plate. Yes, he will. And they are some absolute monsters as well. No pun intended, because they're huge. What else we got?
Another one from Jonas in there that I've starred, but we'll go to someone else.
That was a welcome in Bryce from the Hawk's Eye.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to show this one as well from Cameron. Doesn't care about Myles Garrett. Bring it on. It's not the end of the world. I couldn't agree more. I genuinely think that we're in a position with loads of picks, lots of cap space, some players to renew and rework. We can be in on so many deals, and John often is. With what we've got, we're still holding a whole load of cards, and we are battle ready already. So, yeah, I completely agree with that one. Andy's taking it hard.
Yeah, I saw that, and then it isn't one of his next ones. Like, I've had it with this team. Yeah, like, I think people need to calm down with that. Like, there are trades and moves in every single sport that people think are going to make their team, and you're probably looking at percentage-wise. It's probably about 35 to 40% of those trades work out. Other times, they're just a player on a roster. And that doesn't just go for football. That can go for basketball, hockey, for soccer, rugby. Take your pick. This doesn't mean it's not all doom and gloom, as someone said. It's not like there's been a death in our family. We're just highlighting it as something to watch for the season. I still have the utmost faith in everything that our team does. Okay, John, a lot of people were already picking them over the Hawks. Depth matters. The Hawks continue to make the right moves. Couldn't have said it better myself. I think that's exactly what we were saying. Our depth and our youth is something that we need to be really proud of as Seahawks fans. And Josh, I choose the team where when a player goes down, the replacement player is not much of a drop off. That's the Seahawks. The Rams' depth is questionable. Yes. And I think before the season starts, Mitch, you and I will have to do a deep dive in our NFC West opponents and look at their rosters, because we proved it last season. As soon as one of our players, like Julian Love, goes down, Ty Carter steps straight up, and he is now possibly in there for a starting berth until Bud Clark comes on. But then who knows if that's going to be a direct 1-for-1 there.
Yeah, love this from John. This is back during the beginning of the pod when we had a Rams fan running his mouth in the comments. This reply from John: just keep believing in paper, because right now that's all the Lambs are, paper tigers.
Oh, I like it.
Love it. Yeah, we had the question about whether Puka was back from rehab yet. I think he might be, but I really hope he's not. I hope he's just giving it the full off season, get himself right, not biting people, downplaying concussions, making anti-Semitic, remarks and gestures on podcasts. Just calm it down, Puka. Generational asshat.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because that was literally what was about to come out of my mouth.
Yeah,
I still need to get those T-shirts designed. Right.
Yeah, I think this is interesting for a misfit. Charbonnet should be back to pick up another 2-pointer by the time we play the Rams. Can you imagine?
I'd love it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'd love even more? If that happened and there was a mad scramble for the ball because the Rams were so significantly scarred by it last time that the ball popped out and just fell to one of our players anyway. Manifesting it.
Yeah, just put it out there, it will happen. Right, so this is interesting.
The Rams are fully aware the Super Bowl is a home game. I expected them to go F them picks. There will be a problem. And there'll be a challenge.
I'll put it to you. Sorry, I'll put it to you just before you say your bit. If this was a Super Bowl to be hosted at Lumen Field, do you think John would have been a little bit more aggressive with getting Garrett? Or is that just a Rams thing to do? Is that a flashy, Rams thing to do?
I think it's just a Rams thing to do. Like we've said this, and we've said since Mike Max took over, Mike McDonald's philosophy is on development. He is a coach first and foremost. John Schneider and him work really well in tandem where it comes to team building, but Mike wants to build a squad. He wants to develop players and make them world class. He doesn't want to buy a league. We see it in every single league. I don't think we would have gone all out for that. I genuinely think there would have been a serious conversation. I think Mike would have gone, I don't want him. For what he's going to cost, for how he's going to hamstring us, for the fact that he's going to want to play X amount of snaps per game, I don't see that as being something viable, even if the Super Bowl was held at Lumen.
Yeah,
just my personal opinion. Say what you will in the chat or afterwards. There you go. John Schneider's not giving up his best players from Amy. Hello, Amy. I still love Amy's fiery comments in our Discord. Very valuable member
in this chat with the Rams fans, actually.
Yeah. I mean, this is and Amy's also said that Puka was back after week 1. Rehab was just for show. I think the less said about him on this pod, the better, because we will end up going and JD said, can we make sure we finish before midnight UK time? I think if we started talking about Puka, we'd probably be on for way longer. But I think that is basically that, everyone. I think we've addressed everything we needed to address. Unless, Mitch, have you got anything you want to address?
No, not really. I mean, I do want to stress that I think our roster's in a brilliant position and we don't need to make flashy moves. I think anyone out there that's feeling really let down that we didn't get this trade done, I think what we'd have had to give to get Garrett would have hurt probably more than it would have hurt the Rams. So they were in a position where they're chasing us and could make that move. We're in a position where we're at the top of the tree and we can make moves that assure our future, the future health of this roster. And it looks to me like we've made that call, and I fully stand by it. That's how I'd like to sign off.
I like it. And just for me, as most of you will know, unless you're new to the channel, if you are, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you can like this video, if you're watching it live, just hit like. It's literally a little tap for you and it helps us massively. And if you want to, hype it. I don't know how that works, but hype it. We are the UK Seahawkers official pod. You can join the UK Seahawkers for £12 for the year. You get access to game day field passes. The game tracker is now out. So if you want to put your name down, say what game you're going for, and if you would like a game day field pass, you can be in contact with them and potentially get on the home field during one of the Seahawks games. You also get a load of goodies. And I did have my commemorative coin somewhere, but I think my daughter has half-inched it. Oh, no. I hid it. The best things we've had for ages. And if you want to support the 12 Talk, you can join our Patreon from as little as £3 a month. That's it. There are extra tiers, but you can find all them when you get on there. But £3 a month helps me and Mitch keep the lights on, helps us bring this content to you, hopefully weekly, pretty much, if not more, as well as all our social platforms and everything else. And you can join the Discord for completely free. The link is down there. Click the link tree. You can find everywhere. You can find us on social media and all the podcast apps. I've been Josh. This is Mitch. This is 12 Talk. And we want to say a massive thank you to everyone. And on the count of three, Mitch, are you ready? One.
Never.
Well, thanks very much, everyone. We'll probably be back next week. And we'll see you soon. 1, 2, 3. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Well out there, mate.